Poor Theresa May. Her Irish chickens really are coming home to roost. Ireland voting yes to repeal the 8th Amendment on abortion lifted the stone on her deal with the hardline Conservative Democratic Unionist Party, and we all saw the ugly murk underneath. Northern Ireland is the only place in the UK where women don't have access to legal abortion. And the DUP has promised to block any future reforms. This leaves Mrs May open to accusations from all sides that she's letting down women simply to stay in office. Number 10 says it's a devolved issue, but there's no functioning government installment to change the law on abortion or anything else. So what does the PM do as a self-identifying feminist? Surely back women's right to choose in all parts of the UK. Like the abortion debate, politics is all about choices. I think we all know which one St. Theresa will go for.
Rachel, I think, yeah, we do know which one St. Theresa will go for, and it's not the right one. I have no pity for her, because if this was always going to be an issue, at some point this was going to come back on the table where Ireland is concerned, and the minute you make a deal with the DUP, you know what they are, you know what they stand for. This is what you get. So I have no pity for her. And I think if she was smart, actually, what she should do is use this issue to draw a line between her and the DUP and say, when it comes to certain issues in terms of what's right where women are concerned, this is where we stand as the Conservative Party.
All right, I think this is the moment maybe to hear how really hardline the DUP is being on abortion. Chairman of the party, Lord Morrow, says if Theresa May allowed the Tory party to have a free vote on this, then she would have to accept the consequences. I think it is something she would regret, but it is not something I think she has any intention of doing. Why would she risk losing the support of the DUP? She would not be foolish enough to do that. That's a direct threat, isn't it, Nick?
Look, I'm not here for a standard bearer for the DUP, but June, rarely, and it's your birthday, so I'll draw the line, but rarely have I heard such ill-informed bunkum in my entire life. This is purely and utterly politically...
I'm glad you drew the line.
Yes, I did. That's because it was a birthday, so I was polite. This is purely and utterly politically motivated. Let's have a quick read of what James Cleverly, who is one of the vice-chairman of the Conservative Party, said. The attacks on Theresa May about abortion in Northern Ireland from Labour voices have little to do with women's right to choose and everything to do with opportunistic party political game playing.
Nick, can we just hear from Sarah Wollaston? On her own side, 100 Tory MPs have also signed a motion saying that she should move on abortion rights for women in Northern Ireland. Let's hear it.
I think, at the very least, the people in Northern Ireland deserve a referendum to be able to express their view on this, because it's clear from the vote in the Republic that times are changing, opinions are changing, and it's time for, as I say, for women in the north of Ireland to have the same access to safe legal termination as elsewhere on the island of Ireland, as well as in the United Kingdom.
I mean, you can't pretend that people are using this as a wedge issue simply in order to destabilise Theresa May. This is a moral issue.
It's a moral issue.
June, you talk about drawing a line. You will draw a line that could probably bring back the Troubles, because we have something, I know it's not sitting at the moment, but we have something that is called the democratically elected Northern Irish Assembly, which as recently as February 2016, all but a little over 2 years ago, debated this and found to keep it as it is currently. Draw a line. If you have central government in Westminster imposing on Northern Ireland, can you imagine what that bring about? Now, is this a ridiculous situation? Of course it is, that it's the only place. It's utterly absurd.
Nick,
but you can't have the heavy hand of...
No, but Nick, at some point, it's about what's the right thing to do as well.
We understand what you say, but Stormont hasn't sat for 17 months. The Supreme Court... What if, during the absence of government in Northern Ireland, the Supreme Court rules, I'll put this to Carol, that women should have access to abortion in the province?
Before I answer that, what I want to say is you're smart enough to know that Mrs May is currently between a rock and a hard place. You know that she, in the coming weeks, she has a
but
number of...
that was always going to happen.
Hang on a sec. In the coming weeks, she's got a number of votes coming up on the EU withdrawal bill. She's got to overturn 15 defeats inflicted by the House of Lords. She cannot hack the DUP off right. And you know that. It's political expediency. You know, she might be a feminist, but she's Prime Minister first, and she has to do what's required for this country. And I cannot imagine what it must be like as a woman living in Ireland. In the world that we inhabit now, you know, I cannot imagine being in a situation where if you're raped by a stranger, by a member of your own family, you have to give birth to that baby. It's hideous and it is against women's human rights. But what I'm just sad about is all the people now who are shouting about this, Labour in particular, why weren't they shouting about this a year ago? Because it didn't take a referendum in the Republic to make them concerned about this. They should have been concerned about this in the past, however many years.
People did point out when Theresa May got into bed with the DUP.
But she had to. She had no choice. She mistakenly called an election.
On gay rights, on many things.
But she mistakenly called an election. She lost a majority, so she had to get it from somewhere else. This is political expediency. It's the same kind of expediency that the Labour Party are currently using because they don't want her to use those DUP votes. They want to vote her down in the Commons, so that's why they're talking out now.
What happens when it becomes an open vote? I mean, abortion has always been a free vote in the House of Commons. What happens if she loses? Which she probably will. I mean, if you actually look at who's lining up, she probably will if it comes to that. I mean, what you're going to get to the bizarre position now is, for years you've had people from the Republic coming to Britain to get abortions, women coming... Now you're going to get people from Northern Ireland going to the South.
Greg, it has to be a devolved issue. You have to respect... Either you respect democracy, and the Assembly debated this just over 2 years ago, or you allow human rights laws, and I agree with what all you women are saying, but you allow human rights laws to trump democracy. That's what you're saying.
But you have no government. But you have no devolved government in the North, and you're not likely to in the near future. And Sinn Féin are going to make this one of the issues of getting back into government.
Convention dictates, Greg, and I'm sure you all know this, that the Westminster shouldn't come in on devolved issues, and this is one of the devolved issues.
But hang on, there's no devolved government. Well, so therefore, at some stage, Westminster the government in the UK has to rule Northern Ireland.
It doesn't have to rule on this now. This issue has been hanging around for a lot of years. They could have ruled on it a long time ago. They've chosen now because they know it's a way to destabilise Theresa May. Yes, this is an important issue, but this is a way to destabilise Theresa May.
The Republic has made a different choice on this issue. That's why it's back on the table.
And it should have always been on the table.
But then who stands up for the rights of women in Northern Ireland, if not our own Prime Minister?
You're getting... Carol is agreeing. Carol and I both agree.
No,
it is absurd. What we are saying is, respectfully, there is a process. You have to... Otherwise, the troubles you could be storing up, June, in Northern Ireland...
No, what we're saying is Theresa May has to do the right thing and not just think about her own political career. No, that's not what we're saying.
Because what we should be doing... I take Greg's point. We should be working and trying to get the Assembly to say... I think it's 17 months, isn't it? They've been out, something like that. We should be working and getting... You can't take decisions... Can you imagine as and when they come back and something as contentious as abortion wasn't even...
Surely Sarah Wilson's got it right. You should now have a referendum in Northern Ireland. Because that would then say it's the decision of the people as opposed to the decision of government.
That would meet the evolution question. Can I move it on a bit? I think we all understand that democracy has to sort of trump feminism because it's bigger than all of us. But do you think there's a slight anomaly here in the position? Do you think the DUP is having its cake and eating it? Because they're not allowing any differentiation between Northern Ireland and the UK when it comes to Brexit, but they want full differentiation when it comes to women in Northern Ireland's rights on abortion and the rest of the UK when it comes to...
Well, you're looking at me, I mean, I'll just say, because I sense June wants to come in.
There is a difference here,
I agree.
And the DUP looks pretty shonky.
Look, I said right at the start, I am not a standard bearer for the DUP. Many of their views I find positively abhorrent. Most of their views I can't really get my head around. So, no, this empowering... But I just come back, you know, I won't sound like a broken record here. We have to respect the democratic process.
So we paid £1 billion to be held hostage, basically.
For women not to have access
to that. It's political expediency, and it's a sad story,
Rachel,
but it's
true. Can I just bring in a clip of Shami Chakrabarti on Radio 4?
I never get enough of Shami.
We're calling on Mrs May, a self-identifying feminist, to negotiate with the parties in Northern Ireland and then to legislate without further delay. You can't have democracy without fundamental human rights, and the women of Northern Ireland have suffered for long enough.
Hear, hear. Got nothing else to say on that.
Well, you're obviously on the same side as Shami Chakrabarti, who, of course, it is interesting that sometimes, and I don't want to rain on Greg's parade for later, but while you want to respect the democratic process that we've seen in Ireland as regards the vote abortion, there was a vote we had in Britain a couple of years ago, I don't think I need to say any more, where folk such as Shami Chakrabarti spend morning, noon and night...
Nick.
Because they're both democratic.
Perhaps if Shami Chakrabarti
they knew what they were voting for.
They
were voting for a specific amendment of a written constitution that's owned by the people.
One referendum's good and one referendum can be ignored.
Nobody knew what Brexit...